Let's talk downtown Chicago. When you say downtown, people generally are talking about the near north or the Loop, specifically River North, Streeterville, Gold Coast, or the Loop. And what's the difference between them? How do you choose? I'm in Rossley, Baird and Warner. I sell real estate in downtown Chicago, and today I'm going to unveil what's really going on with these neighborhoods. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in what we call the Big Four. So if you're deciding among them, guess what, folks? It's not about price, because the median sales price for the luxury homes in these neighborhoods is about the same, generally 1.13 to 1.24. So price is not going to be the determining factor if you're looking for luxury in the downtown market. But let's talk a minute about what luxury means here. The median sales price in this neighborhood is about $435,000. So if you go twice that into 800,000 to $1 million, that's really the entry point for luxury. The most of the luxury housing stock right now is between $1 million and $2 million. And again, we're just talking about condominiums and co-ops here attached. We're not talking about single family homes. Watch a different episode if you want to learn about single family homes in the downtown Chicago marketplace. Trophy properties, $2 million and up. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Generally, Gold Coast, quiet, classic. Lakefront, elegance, and is the most space for your dollar. River North, that's the city turned on. Galleries, best dining, and it's got the newest towers. Streeterville, that's by the lakefront, and that includes Northwestern, the park, museum, and the Loop. The Loop is actually two worlds. You've got the Cultural Mile, and then you've got the New East Side. Let's delve into them one by one. Let's talk first about the calm one, the Gold Coast. Median price, $1,240,000. $509 per square foot, which is really reasonable. You get your most money here in the Gold Coast. Right now, 51 days to go under contract for a luxury property, but it's older housing stock. Only 8% is built 2015 or newer. If you're looking at River North, the city turned on. It's $562 per square foot, which is the highest. And in part, that's because of some real luxury buildings that have gone up there, but also because there's smaller square footage for the luxury. Longest of the four in terms of market time, 78 days to go under contract. 24% has been built 2015 and newer. Okay, I say born from a shipwreck for Streeterville. That's because Cap Streeter is the guy that landed there and claimed it as his own. Court battles, he eventually lost, but at least the neighborhood bears his name to this day. So $536 per square foot, 76 days to go under contract, and only 7% is newer from 2015. Let me just go back a minute here. If you're not familiar with the geography, Streeterville is the area that is bounded by Michigan Avenue on one side and the lakefront on the other. It's East Lakeshore Drive at the north, but that's really considered Gold Coast, but just under that, down to the river. So basically, east of Michigan Avenue is Streeterville. And then, of course, the Gold Coast is basically Oak Street up to North Avenue, Clark, and East. Okay, so now we talked about that. Let's go on to the Loop. And the Loop is actually three different places. Let's talk about them. You've got the New East Side. That includes Lakeshore East. Lakeshore East is that special development around the park with the newer buildings such as the St. Regis, Aqua, Lyceris. They've also got some other buildings as well that have been there for a while, such as 340 Randolph. And then you've also got the other side of the New East Side, which is the older buildings, Outer Drive East, 400 East Randolph, Harbor Point, which is the one that looks like Lake Point Tower, and the Park Shore. And that all together is the New East Side. If you're not familiar with the geography, that is north of Millennium Park and Maggie Daley Park to the Chicago River and east of Michigan Avenue. That's why we call it the New East Side. The Cultural Mile, that's the part of the Loop that stretches down Michigan Avenue, and it faces Grant Park and Millennium Park. So like the park is your front yard. It encompasses both new constructions such as the Legacy and the Heritage, but it also takes care of some older buildings that have been renovated. Metropolitan Tower, 6 North Michigan, and the like. And then you've got the Inland Loop. Those are the condo buildings that are on State Street, 208 East Washington, 212 Washington, in and among the commercial buildings. Sometimes people will tell you that the Loop is the most expensive neighborhood, but that's not the case. It's kind of a mirage type of thing. The slide says mirage. We'll use that word. The Lakeshore East new towers, such as St. Regis and the Cirrus and Aqua, make it seem like it's so much more expensive than the rest of the city. But once you tear those away, you tease them out, you'll see that the rest of the Loop, the remaining buildings, are at $540 per square foot. So it's very similar to Streeterville, River North, Gold Coast. So keep that in mind as you're looking at numbers. All right. So now let's look at each neighborhood separately and compare them. As we talked about before, the median sales price is about the same. The best value price per square foot wise is the Gold Coast, and we talked about the Loop being the most expensive with an asterisk. If you forget the new construction in the Loop and look at the other neighborhoods, you're at about 97% of sales price to list price, which is very strong considering that this is luxury property we're talking about. Days on market will vary from 51 to 78. And where you really see the neighborhoods diverge is when you're talking about new construction. 51% of the Loop has been built since 2015. 24% of River North has been built since 2015, but Streeterville and Gold Coast have older housing stock. Only 7 and 8% have been built more recently. The bulk of the marketplace, you'll see that Gold Coast and Streeterville have good solid numbers of $1 to $2 million property. River North has the least, and the Loop has the most, not surprisingly. But I will tell you that if you're going to the trophy properties, 2 million and up, that's where Gold Coast and Streeterville really shine because they're the ones with the most number of the higher price properties. But now let's talk about living in history a minute. Co-ops. Co-ops occur in both the Gold Coast and Streeterville. That's not to say they're the only place in the city because you will see them in Lincoln Park and Lakeview as well, but you won't see them in River North or the Loop. And as you'll recall, co-ops are when people own a share of the corporation as opposed of owning from the drywall in. It's a different type of ownership. They're cheaper on a price per square foot basis. They're historic, and you can't get financing everywhere like you can with a condo. Also, your homeowners association fee includes your property taxes because there's only one property tax bill for the whole building. There are 3 landmark areas of note within the Big Four neighborhoods. Astor Street was landmarked in 1975. It has revival area mansions, but it also has some magnificent buildings. There are some co-ops like 1300 Astor, really lovely buildings. East Lakeshore Drive, that's the iconic part where Lakeshore Drive kind of turns, and you'll see all those beautiful old buildings starting with the Drake and moving toward the lake at 999 Lakeshore Drive. Really a beautiful area in Landmark. Then you've got your 7 houses that are on Lakeshore Drive. Those are the only surviving mansions that are left. All the other mansions on Lakeshore Drive were torn down to build the high rises that we see today. Now, in counterpoint to that, if you're in Streeterville on Lakeshore Drive, 860, 880, and 900, 910 are the Mies van der Rohe buildings, and they stand out from the historic, but they are landmark buildings. 860, 880, those are the first ones. Those twin buildings are co-ops, and then 900, 910, those are condominiums. So historic buildings, but mid-century, as opposed to the pre-war buildings that you see on East Lakeshore Drive and Astor Street. Okay, luxury. Real luxury is staff. If you watch my shows before, you'll know that pools, they add a little bit, maybe 5 cents to your monthly assessments, but it's really the staff that makes a difference. Some buildings will have 1 door person, but when you get into luxury buildings, you're going to see more frequently 2 people at the door. The ultra luxury, St. Regis and others will have the door staff. They'll have a butler. This Ritz-Carlton residences have a concierge. So that's really where you see the monthly assessments getting higher and true luxury. The other thing to think about, there are 106 pools downtown. So there are plenty of buildings that have a pool if you're interested in a pool. Spas and fitness are the new thing, folks. If you're interested in getting a beautiful spa, you can certainly find it in a high-rise building. Oftentimes you'll find wine rooms, tennis, and rooftop terraces are the new thing with new construction. Fire pits, lounges, outdoor grills that like put front gate to shame, all kinds of great stuff. And now let me take a minute to talk about dogs. When I first started in real estate, most high rises didn't allow dogs. And if they did, they only allowed 25 to 35 pounds. But folks, times have changed. New construction luxury is all about the dogs. The St. Regis, for example, has a spa. Most new construction buildings have dog runs. So if it's the middle of the night and, Fido has to go poo-poo, there's a place to go. So these older buildings are trying to catch up with that. The thing to remember is these newer buildings are designed to lock and leave, so that if you want to spend the season in the south of France, you can lock and leave your luxury condo. Somebody will come and check on it for you, and you can be sure that your home will be safe while you're gone. All right, let me give you a quick rundown. Most space for your dollar, go to the Gold Coast or Streeterville. If you're looking for classic, quiet elegance, history, co-ops, the Gold Coast is your neighborhood. If you're looking for the best dining and creative energy, go to the River North area. The newest full amenity construction is located in the Loop in River North. Lakefront with a park at the door and first-class medical facilities, Streeterville. And culture as your front yard, that would be the Loop. If you want the best life for your dog, it's probably Lakeshore East. That they have the big park there, the dog park. It's all like right there. Pretty remarkable stuff. That's it, folks. I have to say there's no wrong choice. All of these neighborhoods are awesome. They're all close to one another, and they're wonderful places to live. So if you're interested in learning more, DM me or drop a note and I'll get you the Downtown Living Guide, which gives you even more information about these neighborhoods and how to make a good choice. And if I can help in any way, please reach out. I would love to help you find your special home in downtown Chicago.